Hello, how are we there? Hello, everybody. My name is Colin. I'm going to talk to you about a few things. I'm going to keep it as brief as possible, so you can move on to more interesting things. I have a lot of interesting stuff to tell you, interesting ideas, so I'll try and get through it as fast as I can. First thing I want to say is thank you, everyone, for coming. So let's give yourself a big round of applause for coming there. Things to do with our weekend, but to come here and just spend time here together. It's so important really for us to come together and to meet each other face to face. I met so many people from Facebook that I had no idea who they were, and they come up to me and say, "Hey Colin, how are you?" I said, "I don't know who you are." Well, you just made friends with me yesterday. Oh right, I just sorry. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. So we're going to start with a nice existential question, just to spook us out a bit here. Why are you here? Okay, well this is an interesting question, and it's there's a reason for this I want to talk about later. Obviously we all have different reasons why we're here. I mean, apart from just want to make a better world, but we obviously we want to support each other, we want to network, or we want to learn something, or we want to inspire each other or be inspired. But there's an underlying reason, really, I think, why we're all here, why we're gathered here, trying to support each other in this message. I want to talk about that a little bit later. So just tell you, you can have a think about that, I'll get that later. Basically, I wrote a thing called the Free World Charter in 2011. What that is it's basically it's a set of 10 principles for really a minimum required operating system for society. So basically these are like the minimum standard that we have to adhere to if you want to create optimal outcomes. What the charter is, it basically reduces the human experience down to like 10 principles that really there's 10 things that we really have to do if we want to create optimal outcomes. So they're not really it's not like rules or laws or commandments or anything, but they basically define that if we adhere to these principles, then we're going to create optimal outcomes. If we deviate, we're going to create less than optimal outcomes. I'm just going to run through them briefly because I don't want to be going on too much. But the first two they really enshrine life and life on Earth and the planet and the whole ecosystem as being the most important thing of all. Rather more so than your consumerism, more so than your religions and stuff like that. Because a lot of these things tend to take top priority most people. But really, the combined fortunes of everyone living on this planet is the most important thing. The third one then is about that we're all we're part of a community of species on Earth. We're not just it's not just humans and animals. We're part of an equal part of the system. And then every human, of course, is an equal human, an equal person, an equal individual in the community of humans. We basically run the society through cooperation and through understanding and good education. This one here is like the money one or the no money one. This is where we basically provide for everyone freely and without condition. We respect the limits of nature, and we apply best available knowledge to problems rather than political or ideology and stuff. We show compassion to those who are not people who can't or not able to contribute for any reason. And of course we preserve the planet for future generations that are not existing here now. That's really important. Anyway, look that up, the Free World Charter, and do sign it if you want. It's quite a lot of people sign on that now, so it's good. It's not a great ideological obstacle for you to sign that. So one of the things that people talk about so much, and we all know, is this thing of transition. This is the thing that it's like the favorite pet topic of anyone who discusses RBE or open economy or whatever the hell you want to call it. So I mean, we're talking about so how do we get from there to there? I think that's actually the wrong question, because we're already transitioning. That even if we all we all stop what we're doing and we all just put sack in our hands, it's going to happen anyway. Because even the most even the most staunch neocon guy will admit or will concede that technology must eventually supersede the capitalist system or the market system, because it's just going to get so much easier to produce things, and the jobs are going to be less. That it's basically just going to seem pointless for people to have jobs and to have this kind of dependency on the economy. So my point is that the transition is happening anyway, but all we don't know is when and how long that's going to take. So I would say that the question is more like, how can we make the transition as fast as possible? Because it's going to happen anyway, it's inevitable, but we need to speed it up, because if we don't speed it up, we're likely to have all kinds of problems in the middle. It could be like wars, or we could have climate catastrophe. We can have what was the other thing I was going to say? We can have social unrest, which of course is already happening. You know, all over the world we have people who are dealing with social problems of any kind, really. So while we are transitioning, definitely we need to transition as fast as possible, because it's going to make things easier for us. A couple of years ago, I wrote a book called F-Day, which is actually like it was like a fictional story of transition, and it's actually quite popular. I was hoping to bring some copies today, but I don't have them, but you can grab it online. And what F-Day does is basically it starts from now today, where we are, and it basically projects out into the future and how we get from here to a money-free world. So it puts the whole thing into a fictional context. And that was a really, really interesting experiment, because I didn't expect it when I started reading the book, or started writing the book. But it caused me to actually ask the little questions along the way as to how do you solve the little problems of actually making the world go money free. For example, how do you keep essential services going? How do you maintain essential services? What happens with shops and businesses, existing shops and businesses, what goes on with them? How do we deal with the large building projects? Imports and exports is really interesting, because if we're going to have a money-free world, or an RBE world, it's probably going to happen in one country first, or one small place first, and then the others will join later. At least that's the way I presented it in the book, which seems like most probable. So imports and exports, if a country, say, is stopped with market system, how is it going to continue to trade and have imports and exports with other countries? So that was another problem I kind of solved in the book. Or, well, I'm not saying solving, but I created a solution for it that may not be the right one, but it's a thought process anyway. Law and order, how do you maintain law and order if you're doing away with governments and police, for example? I mean, how do you cope with that? Because there still will be sort of aberrant behaviour, and how do you deal with that? Prisons and prisoners, how do you deal with that? What do you do with the prisoners? Do you just let them all free? Or do you just keep them in jail? And how do you deal with opposition and resistance to the idea from people? Because obviously not everyone is going to agree. So when I was writing the book F-Day, I was kind of solving all these little problems, because when you're writing a fictional book, as I didn't realise, but I realise now, that even though you're making up the story, it still has to be believable, you know? You have to write it in sort of plausible increments, you know, so it has to be sort of, you can't just say, well, he looked at his coffee and then it was a money-free world, because this is ridiculous, not sort of plausible at all. So you have to kind of say, well, put it into sort of plausible increments. Anyway, so I decided actually after that, because I was sort of solving all these problems, and I put them into another book, a smaller book, an open economy book. It's kind of like what I call the Ladybird book of money-free world. Some copies out there if you want to grab them. So basically what this is all the ideas, all the solutions that I was proposing in the F-Day book, I put them into this little small non-fiction book called Open Economy. You can download this for free from Amazon or from the Free World Charter website, where you can buy a copy there if you want. It's been translated into 8 languages, I think there's some missing there. It's translated into 8 languages now. And the good news is it's only 90 pages, and it's really simple to read. So I recommend reading that if you want. Actually, download it for free if you want. So it's like a bite-sized guide to a money-free world. So that was an interesting experiment in terms of actually trying to find out what was the way it could work. Because when you're in that sort of, when you're writing this sort of novel, you're in this kind of fictional universe, but you still have to sort of make the story plausible. So that's the books. okay, back to this. Why are you here? Well, I was saying there's lots of reasons why you could be here, but we're here to support each other, to network and all that, and we're here for the greater good. But I think there's an underlying reason that is bringing us together, is what's making us come here and do this. And that's pretty much this. It's hard. What we're doing is hard. Okay, let's face it is bloody hard. We all know what we're trying to tell to our friends and families. The ideas are kind of, yeah, he's on about that shit again. I mean, if you're like me, you've probably actually completely fallen out of touch with some people as well, because they just think you've gone blue-la, you know. So this is, it's hard. We have to face the fact that it's pretty tough to be doing, and it's even more hard when you think that what we're proposing is such a great idea that actually solves so many problems. So why is it so hard? You know, when for us it's so obviously so much better, and yet we're so few, and it's so hard to get that idea across to people. So why is it hard? Well, there's loads of reasons why it is hard. There's loads of reasons, but I don't really want to get into them now. I mean, we can talk about indoctrination, or we can talk about people's dependence on the system, or whatever their own job satisfaction, or something like that. But what I'm more interested in talking about is, how can we make it easier? We want to sort of promote this message. What can we do that can make it easier? And we probably all have, everyone here probably has a little project on the go. Do people have other projects that you're working on? If you have a show of hands there, people got a little project like books, or are you doing a web app, or maybe a community thing? Cool. Yeah, so we all have these little projects that we're going on, and they're kind of fitting in with the same ethos, is fitting in with the same idea. And that's really good. But if I was to say to you, what's the one thing I could give you that would help your project enormously? Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, money. Money will really help. And I think this is something we need to talk about. We need to talk about money. I know we have this love-hate relationship with money, and I'm the worst for that for a long time. But I think that there's things that we can do with money, with leveraging the existing system, working within the existing system in a way that it just makes what we're doing more effective and more efficient. This is kind of a rather phallic-looking Venn diagram here. So this is our ideology. You know, we're way out here in the left field. You know, we're talking crazy all the time with all this stuff, and basically, this is what people are going to perceive as familiar. You know, they're crap they watch on TV and stuff like that, so they don't know anything about this. You know, also, then we have like this kind of stuff that works. Sorry, the kerning is working weird here. Stuff that works is you know, stuff like advertising, indoctrination, marketing, from a lovely friend Rowena here. All this stuff is what works, because we know that, let's face it, and Facebook and like the whole Cambridge Analytica thing has really proven to us that we're really, really impressionable, we're really malleable, and very easily influenced, and I think we need to deal with that, you know. Let's accept that we are like that, and let's use it to our advantage. So let's start trying to indoctrinate people with the good stuff instead of with the bad stuff, you know. So we have all these things here, but in the middle here, there's this kind of little sweet spot that basically is what I want to talk about. What I'm proposing is we created this company called Free World One, which is actually a for-profit company that is basically creating and supporting different projects that either make a profitable income, or there are wings that need funding. So, for example, we have like an educational project. We're working on these a series of books for primary schools that are basically things that are teaching empathy and cooperation in the medium of games, nature and compassion, or reasoning, communication, and all these things. These are kind of stuff that really we need to be actually teaching in schools, because again, like school is a very established concept. You know, we all accept that we send our kids to school. You know, but what are they learning there? They're learning stuff that's maybe useful to get through college, but not really that useful to get through life. So this sort of stuff about teaching the kids better ways to behave is really crucial, you know. I know some schools are starting to bring this in a little bit, but what we're talking about is putting a really cohesive product together and actually selling this to schools. And this is something then that is, it's promoting our ideas. It's familiar to people. People understand it, and it's within our ideology, and it's profitable. That we can make profit from doing this. And then the profits we take from this thing we can put into other projects. Like we have another couple of projects. Like the F-Day book, we're talking about making that into a movie. This is like a thing that we could independently produce. And once this could be a perfect vehicle of actually really putting the whole idea, because this is a story of transition to a money-free world. We can actually put this in front of a mainstream audience, you know, which would be a fantastic thing to be able to accomplish, you know, because it really, at the end of the day, it's just kind of like it's kind of an action thriller, really, you know. So it's kind of like it's like a Trojan horse, you know. We're sending a message, and then hopefully people go home after and say, "Huh? What did I just watch?" So anyway, that's just one thing. We have other projects. We have like the Free World or Free Sharing Network. This is a project that doesn't make any money, but it's an important project. So this is something that we're going to be developing into an app. It's already existing on the website. You can check it out. But basically, this is where the Free World Charter thing is. It's basically an action where people are actually sharing goods and services for free, and they're doing that now. They're doing that right now. So it's basically just like a Google Map interface, and you see all the different products or goods and services that people are offering, and you can just exchange and stuff like that. Well, you don't have to exchange. You just go and look at it. It's basically the free sharing network. It's like an enactment of what we're doing with this charter. Another project we have is Honor Pay, which maybe some of you have heard of, which is kind of like it's like a virtual appreciation network. It's a way of kind of paying somebody, but without paying them. So you're paying them like an honor, which is like this virtual token that can't be copied or exchanged or anything. You put a message with that, and this is a way of actually saying thank you for something. So again, this is a project that can't make any money, but it does need support. You know, so if we have other projects that are generating revenue, then we should be putting them into that. We're also interested in hearing from other people's ideas, because we don't have all the ideas, of course. But we're interested in basically, if you have a project or something that needs funding, or if you have an idea for something that's going to actually promote this message and make money, that we can actually funnel into other projects. And I'd love to hear from it. So talk to me after if you have an idea or something like that, or you can contact us on the website. So it's a little bit of a controversial idea, I suppose, because we kind of have this notion, I think, that because we're promoting a money-free world, that we have to act sort of whiter than white. You know, we have to kind of behave that way. But here's a good example. If you imagine that if we weren't promoting an RBE or moneyless society, if we imagine that we were like an AIDS charity or something like that, what would we be thinking of? Well, we got to send medication to villages in Africa. We got to send people out there to help out. So you're going to need all these resources and funding and people to help you. And how are you going to do that? You're probably going to do that through the medium of money, but of course you would. It's just the obvious way to do it if you're doing it as charity. So we need to apply that thinking back into our own methodology and start using the system, leverage the existing system. But we don't have to do it in a way that's tearing up the planet. We can do it in a way that's completely sustainable and ethical. For example, producing the books or something like that is something that's it's an ethical project. It's something that's very useful, and it can also make money as well. So I think this is it's kind of like a hybrid effort. It's hybridizing our efforts to create this kind of like philanthropic company that basically takes profits and puts it into other things. All the salaries of everyone working with the company is all going to be capped to the maximum, so that no one gets more than a certain amount a month, and that's all. And anyone who works for the company, if you want to get involved in the company, talk to me, and we'll see about that. But what we want to do is we want to put everyone on there's to be a salary ceiling, so it's not this crap where the CEO gets like $500,000 a year or some nonsense like that. So this is why, so we can put all this sort of in our articles and memorandums, that basically that there's fail-safes, that the company is not going to go all weird on us. So that's what we're doing. Free World 1, it's, I don't remember why I put that there. Anyway, that's a lovely picture of a rocket. Oh, I know, it's Very nice. You should have put a little face in there. Yeah, that means, oh yeah, what this means is because the guy at the rocket stationery is, it means that we're looking for investors. So if you're interested in investing in this company, or if you're interested in backing us in any way, I want to hear from you, so let me know. You can talk to me, or you can look up the website, or talk to me afterwards. Probably love to talk to you. So that's it, it's a free word one. This is basically, it's a little bit of a controversial idea. It's the idea of using this existing system, using the best of the existing system to try and create a faster outcome. If we can do that, we can make things go faster, because with this thing of the transition that's going to be like going from like A to B, as I said there, it's just going to be, we have no idea how long that's going to take. And I don't know if we want to risk if this thing's going to take 100 or 200 years. So we need to do stuff to accelerate that stuff. So that's my thing. Look up the Free World Charter. If you're interested in the books, there's copies outside, or you can download that from Amazon. And do look up the Free World one if you want to get involved in this. I think it's a really exciting project. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, thanks very much.